We'll have roll call, please.
Eads is absent. Gidley.
Here.
Longenecker. Here. Milner.
Here.
Pinkerton.
Here.
Rupchuk Schaefer.
Here.
Secor.
Here.
Sellers.
Here.
Webster.
Here.
Wendell's absent. Feast.
Here.
Klotz is absent.
All right. Do we have a motion for the minutes from the last meeting?
I move we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, the minutes will pass. We'll start out with PC 2025-09. Amendments to the zoning ordinance for accessory structures.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So we got two ordinance amendments for you this evening, and then a couple updates. We'll be able to go through all that. You guys have already done the July 1st minutes. Thank you very much. And then go ahead and getting into PC 2509, amendments to the zoning ordinance for lot and accessory structures. To kind of break this down, there's two parts to each. For this one, you're looking at Article 6, which is your development standards section, and Section 010 is for accessory structures. Under letter B within that long list, I think it's 5 different ones, we're amending B to include within there accessory structures are permitted on adjacently owned lots used in common provided they meet remaining development standards. And then in Article 13, we're amending the definition of what a lot is to read in total now as a contiguous area of land separated from other areas of land by separate description for purpose of sale, lease, transfer, or ownership, or separate use. The boundaries of a lot shall be determined by its lot lines. I'm going to get into the analysis, break that all down for you, kind of what we're doing, why we're doing it, and then we can jump back here if you wish to kind of look at those proposed amendments and kind of go through it in that fashion. So for the analysis, the zoning subcommittee of the comprehensive plan has continued to meet over the last several months and have come to the initial update to amend portions of Article 6 and 13 when pertaining to the common use of multiple adjoining lots and associated accessory structures. The concern has initially come up due to residences and businesses constructing across common property lines, which is in violation of building code and can create issues should properties be sold to different property owners during tax sales. The reason that this is identified as an initial update is due to the future conversations revolving around the subdivision ordinance and their associated procedures. This proposed amendment is in 2 sections. The first is for the regulation of accessory structures on adjacent lots, and the second is to amend the definition of what a lot is. Is through these 2 amendment sections that it will create a better clarity and reduce the amount of potential BZA casework. So that's kind of where we're coming about for this aspect. So in general, if you have 2 lots that are adjoining to one another, currently if you're wanting to do a home addition across those lot lines, you have to replat those lots together or bring them together in some fashion through the platting process or whatever it may be, depending on how your lot was created at that time. But should you have your house on lot A and on lot B, you had completely open space and you wanted to put an accessory structure there, this would allow you to do that. Currently, your lots are independent of one another, and so we're trying to make that significantly more clear through the ordinance itself, where it allows you to put that on without the need for a primary structure to occur. So now you're able to operate those lots jointly together for the accessory structures, but if your primary structure goes over that, then you need to combine them together for your new improvements, those sorts of things. It wouldn't apply to fences. Fences are relatively easy to adjust to those property lines should things divide for whatever purpose. Should you seek to no longer use lot B and you want to sell it to somebody else and they can build a house, you have that ability, or if you go through tax sale, it keeps things relatively simple. Thoughts, questions, comments on this one? So we're adjusting what a lot is and how accessory structures are applied to that adjusted definition. And this is after several meetings and discussions on lots and adjacent lot uses.
Does the accessory structure have to be used? Okay, so your house is on A, you're going to build an accessory structure on B.
Yep.
Does the structure on B have to be used by the owner of A?
That's the intention behind it, yes.
Okay, it can't be, they can't let somebody else build and use it for something other than
Correct. So
Okay.
that gets into the very definition of what an accessory is. It's incidental to the house itself. So it has to be in association with. You can't have your house on one lot and a building on another and then lease that out to somebody else. That is now a primary structure for whatever that is. Whether it be commercial, storage, whatever it may be at that point. Even if it's just a garage that you're leasing out so that your neighbor can use it.
So what about the structures that are already in place and fences are up and all of this? Now, does that just grandfathered in or?
Right, so when you make a zoning ordinance amendment and that changes how rules are interpreted,
Uh-huh.
anybody that's in existence prior to that runs under the grandfathering aspect or the legal non-conforming aspect to that
So what
law.
happens if you sell that? That's the same thing, it just continues
It
that way?
hasn't changed at that
Okay.
point. Now, that is not to be confused with the difference between what a legal non-conforming or a true grandfathering of a use, because grandfathering technically doesn't exist. Legal non-conforming is the actual definition of that. Illegal non-conforming means when the ordinance was written at that time, when that structure went in, it did not meet that code. It still does not meet that code. But a legal non-conforming means at one point it met the code changed, and now it does not meet the code. So a great example that I give in trying to explain all that is when you talk about setbacks.
Yeah.
Because it's just the easiest one to kind of go through. If the setbacks at one point in time were 10 feet and you're 12 foot away, you're 2 foot to the benefit. But if that changes from 10 foot to 20 foot, now you're 8 foot to the negative. So you are now a legal conforming structure by 8 feet. But should you change it substantially, now you got to come into conformance today.
I assume, because we've had at least one case like this very recently, or,
Wouldn't surprise me.
yeah, and, yeah, I know they all run together after a while, don't they?
They do.
So if somebody comes in and says, okay, my house is here, I want to build this here,
Mhm.
but it's on the lot I own next door, I assume that they will be greatly encouraged to put those two lots together,
So with this amendment,
even though they don't have to.
without speaking for the building commissioner and
simplicity's
assigning
sake,
building
yes.
permits, we always encourage people to bring their lots together from a simplicity stake, especially when you're going to be using the properties together. But we understand that there are going to be times when you want to put a movable shed, if you want to go about it that way. One you could pick out of a big box store or something you see off a main highway, and you want to plop it on your adjacent property. Movable's an entirely terrible way to describe that because it still has to meet setbacks, those sorts of things. But with it, you're using it as one, but we understand that it can go away. Anything can go away, but there's a simplicity to it. And so this allows you to be able to use your property as you currently intend to by owning Lot A and Lot B, and you want to put that shed on Lot B. You shouldn't have to go through the whole BZA process when majority of the time there's not an issue with it. And so that's what's this is trying to streamline, is trying to make less things go through the BZA process, drawing it out for our homeowners within the city itself.
So does this apply to all subdivisions, even those out in the 2 mile zone?
This applies to anybody under our zoning jurisdiction.
So let's say I have a house in a subdivision and I buy the lot next door.
Yep,
And the subdivision has some restriction that says,
it's a private restriction. It's a private matter.
okay, but what about the size of the structure?
So you're
I think of people,
still,
I can think of a subdivision right now in the 2 mile where
Mhm.
it was all
residences.
residential, and the guy bought the lot next door, and now he's got a commercial storage building stuck on it.
Like a business or just
He
a,
uses it as a business. There's no
Gotcha.
sign, but yeah, that's what he's using it for.
so the caveat with this is the accessory structure is exactly that. It's just an accessory structure for you to be able to store your stuff in. A home-based business, the setbacks, the impervious coverage, all those things still have to be met regardless. This just simplifies whether or not that structure itself is permitted to go onto the property. Your use of it now comes into question on, is it for a business, is it meeting the setbacks? You can't take this accessory structure and put it over the common lot line between lots A and B. You have to meet the setbacks between the two lots. They're still independent in nature. So should you sell it off and it's a constructed 30 by 40 pole barn with beams in the ground, it's not going to move very easily, so it's going to have to meet those setbacks whether you own it or not. So in some instances you can see upwards of 20 feet between two structures just because of the interior setbacks or side yard setbacks for both sides.
I'll have one more question. Does this involve in any way the movement to allow garages to be converted into
Nope.
They're not related, this isn't the first step to another?
This has got nothing to do with ADUs.
Okay.
This is just simply, we have
This doesn't have
several
anything
commercial
with-
businesses and residences that seek to permit accessory structures or building additions, and to clarify what is permissible to be on an adjoining lot when a lot combination needs to occur, and what that process begins to look like without requiring an unintentional amount of variance requests. So if you had two lots and all you want to do is put a 8 by 10 shed on your second lot, it shouldn't take you 1 to 2 months in order to get approval that has a greater than likely approval rating. There's no sense in holding up the general public for something like that, and that's kind of where this is coming into play. And the long-term discussion that came about with this is what's the best way to do it, having conversations about the subdivision ordinance, understanding that that conversation was going to be very excessive in terms of time. So this was a shortened version of that, a compromise between the parties around the table at that point.
Any other question? There's no public hearing.
There's a public hearing for
Public
this.
hearing. Do we have a
Make
motion?
a motion, we open it up for a public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none, if you have an opinion of this ordinance, now's the time to speak up, or one way or the other. And please come up and say your name and phone number.
Address.
And address, yeah.
Well, you have had a long day, Ed.
You're all here for
I have.
You must have.
There being no one, do we have a motion to close the
Make a
public
motion, we
hearing?
close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so do we have a motion? Or do we have discussion?
I make a motion, we approve PC 2025-09.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We will vote by roll call, please.
Gidley,
No.
Longenecker,
Yes.
Melman,
Yes.
Pinkerton,
Yes.
Roughchuck Schaefer,
Yes.
Secor,
Yes.
Sellers,
Yes.
Webster,
Yes.
Peace.
Yes.
All right. So I'll move forward with a recommendation of approval to the city council. Moving on to our next one, PC 2025-10, amendments to the zoning ordinance for murals. There's a lot more that kind of comes along with this one. I'm going to try and break it down the best way I can. If you have questions, we'll be able to go through that. Under Article 6, the development standards section, under Section 200, which is for signs, whether it's a sign on the building or murals or wall graphics, art, all those sorts of things all begin to fall under this aspect. And what we did is we adjusted it pretty much in its entirety to allow it under 3 aspects, where murals, also known as wall art, are divided into 2 categories. Murals or work of art are non-commercial. Does not require a sign permit, but requires a plan director letter of approval meeting the associated definition and below standards. The plan director may consult with local artists for best practices and technical information. In certain instances, the plan director may defer the request to the technical review committee or board of zoning appeals. The applicant shall submit a sketch of the proposed along with the existing wall material and list of media seeking to be used in the project for review. Shall remain static in nature and may protrude no more than 1 foot from the face of the building. And then sign or wall sign is commercial. Sign, wall sign are regulated by the requirements listed below. And the sign section of the ordinance is several pages long. So I decided not to include that because none of that was changed from that requirement. That's the only portion that changed within Article 6. Now jumping to Article 13 is a little bit different. We added the term mural, and we have the term mural in there, and we adjusted that portion of the ordinance, and then we had a section in there called sign mural. We changed that to be sign, wall sign. So sign being the base portion of the ordinance to it, wall sign being the specific. Because under sign there are different sections within that portion as well. So for the definition of mural, it's to read as a painting or work of art that is affixed or painted onto a side of a building, wall, or structure, or a painting on the ground. Murals are works that are non-commercial and do not use business names, photos, or phrases or logos. And then the definition of sign, wall sign, is amended to read now as a sign painted or fixed onto the side of a building, wall, or structure. Again, I'm going to jump into the analysis, give you the background on kind of where this all came about and kind of where we're here. So for the analysis, the zoning subcommittee of the comprehensive plan has continued to meet over the last several months and have come to the initial update to amend portions of Articles 6 and 13 when pertaining to public art and murals. The comprehensive plan seeks to identify feasible locations for different amenities along with public art. A portion of being able to implement this matter is reviewing the ordinance that regulates them. The plan further goes on onto including a goal that continues the support for Plymouth to be known as an arts community. This amendment is made in 2 parts. The first revolves around Article 6 and the regulations pertaining to murals, also known as works of art. The section outlines general requirements and approval procedures for murals, along with separating the difference between murals and wall signs. The second section better clarifies the definition outlined in Article 13 for murals and wall signs. So there's been an interest in increasing the amount of murals or other forms of art throughout the downtown area and other locations throughout the city. And so in order to do that, we have to have a better understanding of what ordinances are regulating these, and finding out that there is a very intertwined mixture of what mural and wall art and what a wall sign all kind of convolutedly came together as within the existing ordinance. And so we're seeking to adjust that to make it significantly more simple while trying to balance what a mural is for and the First Amendment right.
So can you tell us what we can and can't do?
There's a balance of what is a work of art, a mural,
Okay.
and what is a wall sign. So a great example of that would be if you look under the definition or the ordinance currently for signage, item within this piece, currently there's a limitation of 30%. So if you've got a 30-foot wall, you can only paint less than 10 foot of it. Seems rather small when you're starting to compare murals from around the area, nation, and everything else. 30% is not a whole lot of that wall space. So we wanted to get rid of that portion to it. With the other portion to it, if you had a building downtown and was sitting on a corner and you wanted to paint something on it, say your daughter's favorite flower was a daisy, but you sold jewelry, you could not put up the flower because it had to be content specific to what you did in the building. A lot of sign regulations had to be massively revamped in 2018 due to the regulation of what was said. We are capable of regulating how it looks. The height, the size, the opacities, those like that aspect, the bulky portion to it. But the content of said sign is massively regulated under the First Amendment and protected there. So we have to pay attention to how we word this aspect to it. And so we wanted to create the distinction between what a mural or wall art is as a non-commercial portion to that. So limiting people from putting in the, where was that? This is the phrases, often the branding portion to it, or the logos of said business. If you want to do that, you can still propose to do that, and you're going to have an example if you stick around through the BZA meeting. There's an example of this tonight. There are logos of local businesses and industries. Under this ordinance, it would not permit that. They would still have to come through the BZA. It's not that we don't support it, but we have to draw a definition of what is wall art and what is a commercial sign. So if you're advertising for somebody else in town, then you're getting into the definition of what is off-premise signing. Likewise, we have some recent businesses that have gone up in the last couple of years that have signs that are not your traditional cabinet or box signs or lettering signs. They are painted onto the side of buildings. And so we have to figure out how do we begin to define those as well. So that's kind of where the definition kind of comes into what is a commercial-based sign. Say the logo for a business that you can think of in your head. That logo may not have the entire name of said business, but it could be a representation. Up and down Michigan, we can start picking off businesses where the logos are very represented in branding and advertising. Those begin to fall into that commercial aspect, thus making it a wall sign, not a mural or a work of art. Trying to balance that, what is a work of art or a mural that has an intention to beautify or do something similar to those natures, whereas another is attempting to commercialize and brand and show something else. It's a very tight rope to walk, and a lot of communities have fallen into a very similar way of writing this. And so in order to open up this opportunity for local artists or regional artists to come in and be able to put different things throughout the community, because there has been that interest, is how do we begin to update this ordinance in order to allow for it, but still find a way to regulate it in a proper way.
So I think when I first read this, I tried to think of a case. I can think of one case in 16 years that we had a request to put a wall sign.
Mm-hmm.
When WKVI came to Plymouth, they wanted to put essentially a painted-on billboard on the sign of Lowry's Carpet.
Okay.
And because it was an off-premise sign, it wasn't their premise,
Mm-hmm.
we denied it.
I understand.
So will that still be possible?
So if it's still a commercial sign advertising for a different business elsewhere, big box store X that's located on the north side of 30, and you're wanting to put its logo and advertising likeness in downtown, yes, you still have to go through the certain approval process.
Okay.
You have to meet those certain standards. This is, as an example, if you walk down a couple of the alleys within the area, there are different works of art that are painted onto the block and the brick. This would allow those to go in. Or if you're on the museum property, here just up the road, they have different barn quilts that are on there as well. Similar instances where it would allow different things like that.
Can the work of art wrap around the corner of a building, or is it restricted to just one side of the building?
It's not restricted to one side.
Okay.
It sounds like, in the first part, you're saying the plan director decides this. Is there an appeal process, or do they go?
There's always an appeal process. It would go through the administrative appeals process.
I'm gonna follow up this question because under the mural section on here,
Mm-hmm.
the plan director may consult, why was may used instead of shall? And I have in the next paragraph down, it will be the same question for that one. What was the purpose behind the shall, or may instead of shall?
The difference between may and shall is depending on who is sitting within that seat may have different artistical knowledge. And so some questions may be very common at one point. So if you're using the same medium and same base material, if you will, if it's the same question over and over again, there's no need to go back and consult consistently if the base and the media used is going to be the exact same, if it's going to be an obvious answer. If it's a continuation of change in base material and different media each time, having an understanding of what is that going to do or how is that going to have an impact, is it going to be structurally sound and safe to do something like that, or are we going to call this a long-term issue?
Was there any discussion on the longevity of the mural? Like,
There was none.
none? Have you seen that in other municipalities at all?
I don't recall that being in other ordinances.
Okay.
I saw one. I saw one wrapped
And there's no
around
concern
the
that
time.
to the detriment, but then that would be where the plan director would have.
Right, so just like any other building permit or anything along those lines, we'll still be consulting the rest of the ordinance. This is just trying to set out a procedure without having to have everything go through the BZA or everything go through the TRC.
And just cut through that red tape and
Right,
simplify
it shares some of the duties with the building commissioner without having to have him review every building permit as well as every sign permit. If the planning director is able to assist in this matter, I think it would be extremely beneficial to help share those duties.
So if we have something that's offensive and they want to put it up, is there recourse? Can you deny that? Or is that freedom of speech?
That would be getting into a conversation with, should there be something that's deemed offensive? Having a conversation with the attorney on the value of free speech and what is permissible and what is not would be a very hard conversation. Not a hard conversation to have, but a conversation that will very much happen.
Doesn't that come under the community standards that came under other things a number of years ago?
I've been in several conversations over the past almost not a decade, but about 8 years or so, on the First Amendment right for free speech in signage.
I guess that's what I
Without
was.
boasting, I would say
asking about the
I've
process.
been right every time. I've also had conversations with other communities about that. And so having very strong consultations with the city attorney or otherwise designated as needed would be very much looked into. And so trying to find that balance. So should there be an appeal or anything along those lines, it would be highly consulted with through that process. And should the applicant seek to appeal that through the administrative appeals process, they're able to do that just like any other decision that's made between the plan director and the building commissioner.
Yeah.
But in your judgment, this is written in a way where we're trying to mitigate that as much as possible.
Correct.
I should point out that when we're talking about the content and whether it is potentially offensive, it would apply in the same way that any restriction would apply to any other sign. So if a business has a existing sign, they're currently allowed to change the face of the sign without any sort of zoning approval. If they were to put something offensive on an existing sign as opposed to painting it as a mural on the wall, we would have the same conversation and the same review process. So it's not any different than the current standards that already exist for signage.
Well, when you use the word art, we've all been to an art museum. And sometimes that's some stuff you don't want to put out on the streets. I've got grandkids. That's discussions I don't want to have with my 5-year-old grandkid.
And if that were to arise, like I said, it would be the same standards that currently apply to any of the existing sign regulations. So we would have to address that through the remainder of the ordinance standards.
Thank you.
It's in the eye of
The beholder, yeah.
Public hearing.
Yeah, this requires a public hearing as well.
We will open it up, or we
I'll
have a
make a
motion.
motion, I'll make a motion, we open this up for a public hearing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none. Does anyone from the audience have anything to say on this? Either yay or nay. There being none,
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There being none. Do we have a motion?
I move we make a favorable recommendation of PC 2025-10.
I second.
I'll second too.
All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any other questions? There
I would
be-
like to make a kind of a statement. It's a start for some of these wonderful artists that we have in our community, and I think it would be, regulated well by the artists themselves. Okay, we can vote.
All right, we will vote by roll call, please.
Gidley,
Yes.
Longenecker,
Yes.
Milner,
Yes.
Pinkerton,
Yes.
Rupchuk Schaefer,
Yes.
Secor,
Yes.
Zellers,
Yes.
Webster,
Yes.
Peace.
Yes?
Okay, that's good.
Okay, that passes. We'll go ahead and move that on to City Council. Coming up next, we have the Building Commissioner update. Mr. Building Commissioner, you have anything you'd like to add this evening?
Nope.
Seeing none, moving on to the comprehensive plan update. We're continuing to make great progress with it. We're coming to the point in time where the majority of the work that has been accomplished has been fantastic, and we've done several things. We're reaching the point in time where rather than meeting monthly, we'll be getting that discussion of lessening the amount of meetings per year. So rather than once a month, looking at every other month or once a quarter, whatever that may be, as we go through those discussions, simply because many of the items that have been addressed so far are capable of being addressed within a short period of time, so you're able to dispatch the many individuals that have been a part of that comprehensive plan implementation. Now it's getting into the more long term updates, those sorts of things that take significantly more time. And so to continue to meet on a monthly basis isn't always necessary. There may be times where we may need a special meeting or anything along those lines that could very well pop out, but the committees are still being very active in all the work that they are doing, so very proud of them for all of that. Continue to push great progress forward in implementation of the comprehensive plan as a whole. But that's kind of the big update in terms of beginning those conversations with the rest of the comprehensive plan committee.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
So I just want to share this because I know Anna Kitzman was excited to share it at our last city council meeting. Anna chairs our marketing subcommittee of the comprehensive plan committee, and I don't know if she's still out of town, but I think she's still recovering from art in the streets, so it may take just a little longer. But the marketing committee has been working on an online progress tracking dashboard that can be viewed online or on a phone. I don't know if they're going to pursue an app, but at least you'll be able to look it up online. So it'll be based on the various lists that you see posted in the back of the room, but it will include progress tracking bars and links to more information. So it'll be a great tool for both the city and the general public to see what we're working on based on the comprehensive plan, how it's referenced in the plan, and the progress that's being made toward achieving those goals. So we look forward to seeing that formally launched. It already exists. I think they're going to do a public launch and really get the word out very soon. So when Anna's recovered and ready to get back to work. I think that's the next thing we'll see from on the marketing committee.
Excellent. Any questions on the comprehensive plan? Seeing none, hearing none. I have no other business this evening.
I move for adjournment.
Wait a minute.
Mike, do you have something?
If I
Go ahead.
could, just a minute
Sure.
or two? Thank you. Mike Delp, 3746 West Shore Drive, Bremen. Used to be a Plymouth resident, but what I'm going to bring up here has been bothering me for quite a few years, and I just want to make sure that somehow this has been corrected with our building enforcement codes or ordinances, whatever. Doug and I have talked about this before, and I meant to get here before and I didn't, but first of all, I want to thank Dennis Manuel for what he's doing. I've been reading in the paper the billings and what the city's been putting up with, and I can't thank him enough for trying to hold the line on some of these buildings that we've been dealing with. Here's what I'm going to talk to you about is the property is at 300 Pennsylvania Avenue. Won't bring up their name or anything like that, but that property has never been cited. Okay, it's got the insulation board with duct tape on it, and most of that duct tape now is off.
You brought that up before in here, didn't you? Well,
Did I bring it up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I bring it up?
Yeah.
I didn't know, honestly, I didn't know I
Right.
brought it up before.
Yeah.
Okay,
Pool, right in the back?
pardon?
They have a pool in the back?
Yep, they
Yeah.
do have a pool in the back, so I'm gonna, but this picture is from 19, June of 19, so it's been at least 6 years. Honestly, Doug and I think it's been 8 or 10 or 12 years that it's been like this. I think it's approaching 12. Here's the pool they put up since then, a nice elaborate pool. And I'm just saying they had the money to do the pool, but they haven't done the siding. So all I'm saying is I hope somehow that's covered, that this doesn't slip through again. If it was next to me, it would, I'd be pretty upset, to be honest with you. The last thing I'll say is the property right next door, 310, is common ownership. And that house is in great shape, beautiful siding on it, just looks fantastic. There is a second person listed on this property, but at least one person is common between both properties. So I just wanted to bring it up again tonight. I'm really here for the zoning appeals just to make sure on something there, but I appreciate you listening. I just hope this doesn't, that it can't happen to somebody else, that they have to live next to this. So thanks for your time.
Anything else from anybody?
I move for adjournment.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, so BZA will start soon.
Yep. So we'll take a couple minutes and then we'll get started with our BZA meeting.
You got 20 minutes to get home and get to the church.
I didn't read the
Allowed to have supper.
You were following me earlier. Me too, so much.
I'm calling the August 5th, 2025 meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. We'll begin with roll call.
Garner's absent. Gidley.
Here.
Ritchie.
Here.
Wendell.
Here.
Jacobs.
Here. Thank you. The minutes of the last regular meeting of July 1st, 2025 were distributed to the board members via email or mail. Are there any corrections? If no, I'll entertain a motion for approval. The minutes is presented.
I motion we accept the minutes as presented.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. First on the BZA will be BZA 2025-15. Ty, would you present your findings, please?
Absolutely. So BZA 2025-15, Lonnie and Brian Stutler, 13291 5D Road, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, an administrative appeal of a violation letter pertaining to removal of pallets and continued cleanup of the property at parcel 5042-91-000-103-000-018, located at 7469 Michigan Road, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, Zone C3 Corridor Commercial District. And we went ahead and pulled a spring aerial from pictometry. The request is that it's an administrative appeal of a violation letter pertaining to removal of pallets and the continued cleanup of the property at parcel 5042-91-000-103-000-018, located at 7469 Michigan Road, Plymouth, Indiana 46563. Here's the subject property from the latest aerial in this spring in 25. And then we went ahead and did the pictometry of that as well. And then we went out and we took pictures of the subject property looking north on Michigan, south on Michigan, and then panning from south to west to north as we kind of make our way across the property. And then on the other side, and then we moved up to the north side and started at the north end and pan our way down. And then a couple shots into the property. So here's the imagery from end of 24, the end of beginning of 23, and the beginning of 2021 as we go back in time. So for the analysis, Brian Stutler submitted the appeal indicating he received a letter asking him to remove pallets that he needs to place items on so that they can be moved around easily to clean up and straighten things up around the property due to flooding of the property. A letter was sent by Building Commissioner Dennis Manuel Jr. on June 25th, 2025. The letter indicated that a letter was sent in February and in April, and he had spoke with someone on the property that they need to remove all of the wooden pallets and continue to work on cleanup of the property. Then on June 9th, a notice was sent that no significant improvement has been seen, and there was 15 days to come into compliance or pursue an appeal. Since compliance was not met and no appeal was filed, so a fine was issued. So the decision criteria for you this evening on this appeal is that the board shall only grant an appeal of such an administrative decision based on a finding in writing that the decision of this administrative person or board was inconsistent with the provision of this ordinance. Is the owner permitted to keep his pallets in use of organizing his items? Now it is up for board determination. Any questions for me? And then do you have any questions for the building commissioner?
I don't. Anybody else?
I believe the owner's here.
Okay.
I'll turn it
Follow
over to you.
through? Sure. I guess the same. Will the petitioner or representatives please step forward to the podium? Please state your name and address for the record.
I have a hard time hearing. My name is Lonnie Stutler. It's my brother Brian Stutler. We are co-owners of that property. Brian's business is on that property. And I don't know if anyone here knows what they're even looking at. I know it looks, from that picture, it looks like a big mess, but this stuff has value. There's a lot of used businesses along this row, across the street. They sell used toys, blenders and stuff. Brian's business sells used industrial stuff. It's more commercial and industrial. This is zoned a commercial property. If you go up to Kroger's store, they have pallets all along front of their store that they use, and it's been there for years. So to tell him he can't have pallets on his property, why does everybody else on this road get to have pallets on their property? You looked at a picture of a tractor there, that's a forklift, and that's what's used to move these pallets with. The things that he deals in are too heavy for a man to pick up. They have to be palletized. So that's what you're looking at. That's why the pallets are there. If you take the pallets away, you take his business away. And we've had that commercial property since, the early 70s, late 60s. At one time, I ran a machine and welding shop out of that building. And I wanted to get back in and put a business back in there, but Brian does his business out of it, and he buys and sells commercial secondhand goods. And like I say, a lot of it are, like furnace parts or tractor parts. There's a section back there where he does small engine repair. He's got mowers and things in the back, and just different things that have value to different people. I mean, a lot of people look at this and they've called it rubbish, and there wasn't any rubbish on there. It was just things that maybe you would consider junk. But the next man that walks up I've been looking for one of those for 5 years, and here it is, and consider it valuable. And he's got a fence up, and one of the problems we've had is since the business up the street filled the ditch in the back, the water used to run away from that property, and they filled that ditch up, and now the water collects at our property. And about 6 months, 7 months out of the year, you can't drive on it. It's underwater. And we've asked for relief for this. I don't know why they filled it. For years it was fine, but they wanted to increase their parking lot, so they filled that ditch in. And now the water comes to our property and stands on our property, which I believe is against the law to do.
Yep.
We're in the process of doing it now.
So I don't remember how many months ago, but we asked Dennis several months ago, and he said that he told us about the flooding problem.
Yeah.
And that you had said that it was caused by somebody else. But he told us, I think he told us, as I recall it, that he advised you to contact the drainage board.
Yeah, I think Brian has.
So you contact, and what?
They haven't said anything yet. They haven't got back with me or nothing. They come out and they looked, they said, well, we'll go back with you. And that's it.
But you haven't followed up with them to find out why they haven't got back to you?
I've been dealing with this other problem first, trying to get
What's the other problem?
what we're talking about right now.
Trying to
Get
keep
rid of the
everything.
pallets.
Why? But if that spot wasn't wet back there, would some of this stuff be back there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think if you go back to that picture from 2021,
That
that
was-
wasn't wet in 2021, it doesn't look like.
Well, there wasn't
Wasn't-
really that much stuff.
There wasn't that much stuff, but who can pull up the pictures?
Yeah, it's been that one. You can't tell whether.
Could you have used that back there?
I think in 2021, I believe it was wet. I mowed back in there and I almost got stuck with the tractor. But,
Is it possible you've got more stuff than you've got room for?
I don't think so.
The whole back end's still open.
There's still a lot of room in the
The
back.
whole back end, why aren't you?
It's
But
underwater.
the only
Can't
reason
get
you're
there.
not using the back end is because of
it's
the
wet.
water?
Yeah, it's because it's wet. He was back there, he walked it, he knows you're walking through water.
You want to make a
But
statement on what you're?
We can call him up here in a minute, maybe.
Today, if you
Okay.
go out there and look, that fence that's up in the front, everything's behind the fence now. And it's dried out enough to get behind there. I know I backed a truck through there once, just across the front, and sunk down in that far with with my tractor trailer.
The fence doesn't cover up too much.
No.
And this is an entrance to the city. You know, this is what we're trying to make it more presentable, get it out of sight, out of mind. Like, that's why I think that's where he's going.
Yeah.
Can you get it behind and back it up a little bit out of the way?
Some of the stuff is out there to be seen.
Well,
It's part of the business, you know.
You can't sell it, you don't
Make
see
it
it.
an organized mess then.
Well, there are times when it's more organized than others, I'll give them that.
Yeah, you can't get out there. I gotta work other places, get other jobs,
Yep.
because I can't rely on this totally for income.
Okay,
I get jobs outside work.
okay.
But I think the thing that kind of bothers me is the fact that he's fined for the pallets. And the pallets are used, I went to every business, if you'd like to see my pictures, I've got pictures of every business along there that has pallets and stuff stacked along their fences and along their properties.
I'm sorry, just for, out of curiosity, what business filled in the ditch that caused the flooding?
Well, they just said it was flooded back in 2001, so,
We said one of the businesses just.
Right here at Auto Park.
but it said it's always been flooded.
The auto park?
About 10 years ago, the ditch used to be farther south, or farther north.
Yeah.
It was halfway in the middle of the property. Well, somebody, I think it was Don Kent, may have had the property at that time, moved it over to the property line. Took the ditch and just moved it all over. Well, and when they did that, they cut off all the water that went to the ditch. Nothing goes to the ditch now from the north. Nothing. It all heads south. Or it heads north to my place.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else for these guys? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. Tell us your thoughts, Dennis.
He is correct. This picture actually shows very well the back corner, how it's pretty much vacant. It is very wet back there. As you walk through there, it does squish under just my varying weight. There is a ditch line that runs on the back of the property, on the north side of the property, and then out along Michigan Road. I told him to contact the drainage board. The pallets,
Yeah, I want to hear about,
that was just, I spoke with Lonnie, I think actually I spoke with him last year, and he informed me that he actually all that stuff was for sale. He was selling it. I said, well then organize it, please. He did organize it, and then it got in disarray again. I sent a letter. He came in, talked to me. We talked. I said, as long as you're working on it, I'm willing to work with you. It kind of drug on a little ways. I went out there to take more photos, and he was actually out there spreading some millings. He'd gotten millings from someplace, and he was spreading millings to where he could access the front. And then nothing happened. And the pallets were, I stopped out there and I was like, just eliminate your pallets. Let's start with that. The whole property is the problem.
that's right, yeah.
If
That's
it's
how
for
we did
sale,
well, for sure,
then
if
it
that
needs
was-
to be organized.
Yeah.
I already spoke with the other properties farther south and they worked on their issue. I'm just working on.
So this isn't the only one that you've been talking to
No.
out there?
No. I did that whole strip.
Yep.
So.
So other businesses along there have been asked to clean up their
Yes.
properties too?
Yes.
On that side of the road? What about on the other side of the road?
On both sides of the road.
Yeah, oh yeah, but even down a little farther where?
Yes.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because if you paid attention to the back portion, that's cleaned up significantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been up there in a while.
Okay.
Apparently, from looking at the photos, I need to drive back up there because there's something else up there that needs to be addressed.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. So Ty, are we supposed to just be now voting on whether we're upholding or is there?
Correct, so this is the appeal.
So do we have an open forum to the public and everything like we normally do? Or do we make a motion if we're gonna uphold it?
Jeff?
Administrative appeal does not require a public hearing.
Okay.
That's what I thought, but I wanted to make sure with you. So now we'd be looking for a motion whether we're gonna
Correct.
Uphold.
So now you have any discussion amongst yourselves, which direction, if you have any additional questions from either party, and then you guys make a determination.
Gotcha.
Which direction.
Gotcha.
Can we bring it back on?
Yeah, we can.
To say about how he's gonna fix this.
Sure.
'Cause it's a mess.
Got some additional questions.
Okay. What do you guys propose to clean this up?
I've been all along cleaning it up.
Well, I drove by it the other day, and it's from the street, if you don't know what you're looking at, it looks like a big junk pile.
I've rearranged the whole place already this week.
It's,
I was out there.
understand that when he gets stuff, a lot of stuff comes, hey, I got a this or a that. Can you come pick it up? Do you want it? Yeah, sure, I want it. It's got value. It's got something on it valuable to me.
It's better than
And it
sending it
comes
to
in,
landfill.
And if
Is
it's
it
too,
considered a junkyard?
No,
not a junkyard, it's
I mean,
more commercial.
Dennis was a junkyard, but they still sold a lot of stuff
Well,
out of there.
when you say junkyard, that's,
I repair a lot of things.
it's not junk. There's a lot of, yeah,
Is there a way to
like I said.
organize this into some type of organization?
I'm trying to.
Yeah, get some pallet racks or some, not pallet racks, but just some racks that can hold engines and stuff like that, and put your vehicles in straight lines, and it just needs to be cleaned up. I think that's what the
Well,
city's.
Yeah, and that's what I was explaining. If you went there today, you would see it is cleaned up.
Well,
And
I
the
was
vehicles
excited.
are lined up.
I was by there
Yeah, but
this afternoon.
When you got a flood or wet zone, and then the things come in, you put it where you can, so you don't sink when you try to drive across it. We can't drive across the back, so it ends up getting out in the front until the weather dries out enough, and then you can move it back and organize.
Yeah,
it.
forklifts don't like wet ground.
Yeah,
Who's, if you're out doing other jobs, who's there to sell the stuff while you're not there?
I'm all by
There's
myself.
nobody there.
Nope,
So anybody could drive on, drop something off, and
pretty much.
you have no control over.
Well, they know I don't want their garbage. I don't take garbage. But used appliances, some of those I take, no,
But you don't talk, you just, you go in one day and it's there.
no. The gate goes across front of it, and they don't drop anything off unless I'm there.
There's a cable.
Is there a specialty that you look for? Old vehicles, tractors,
Tractors,
or is it just anything that's valuable?
Jeeps.
Anything that's worth money?
Mowers,
mowers.
commercial equipment.
I fix mowers. I can fix all your mowers, your weed eaters, your cars, trucks, semis, whatever.
Is there a way of organizing it to where you have like
I'm trying to
new
do that.
merchandise, like is in one
Fines for the
spot,
past.
and then everything else
Fines
is
for the
kind of,
past.
so at least there's
Yeah.
some rhyme or reason to how it's laid out, like,
Well,
Fix it.
out there in front, I got, like I said, I put millings in just so I could drive in the driveway, because I couldn't even drive in. You drove in, you sunk in 6 inches. So I put millings in the drive itself,
Right.
and I'm trying to spread it out, but it costs money.
so are the items that you have just laying on the ground in the grass, or are they on pallets?
They're on pallets.
They're on pallets. 90% of them are on
He
pallets.
follows the codes, I don't know.
And it's just a question of what.
And I have 4 forklifts on site.
You good?
Getting the weather right in order to get the pallets organized
What's
is what you're seeing here.
What's the option, I mean, of putting a fence up there in the front?
And there,
Well, there was, I mean, when this, back in some of those previous pictures, there was a time when there wasn't a fence at all, and then he built a fence out of.
No, that's a
pallets.
factory-built fence. I bought that at the lumberyard.
It's a dog-eared
Is it?
Doggers, yeah, it's bought from the lumberyard. It's not
How high is the fence?
I think about 6 foot.
That's a typical dog ear.
Jeff, I have a question for you. The old Demetz was brought up, and in my past, I know that Demetz was what's called an automobile graveyard. It has a legal definition. Does this have a legal definition?
So I actually have been, Dennis and I have talked about this a couple of times. The closest identified use in the zoning ordinance, I believe, would be an auto salvage yard. which is allowed as a special use in the C3 zoning district. This is zone C3. And if this is, so that's a determination that Dennis could make whether this is allowed or not. If he determines that the closest use is the auto salvage yard, that would require a special use exception from this board.
Automobiles aren't really the focus of this business.
Well, you identified tractors as the primary item that you buy and sell. It's certainly
lawn tractors.
Whether this is an auto salvage yard, I think you can make an argument that it's not necessarily auto, but still a salvage yard. So that's another area where, because there's not a clear identified use in the zoning ordinance that matches the current use, that would be left up to the determination of the zoning administrator, so the building commissioner. And again, that decision could be appealed to this board.
What's in the building? Is that yours, the
Yeah.
structure there? What's in there?
More things, for sale, yes.
Can you get more stuff in there?
Can you arrange that or organize that to where you can get more things in there?
I'm trying to, like I said, I've been working on this golf cart. I work on about anything mechanical, and it's been driving me nuts, and I've been trying to get it out of the way so I can get on to bigger and better things. And when it rains, I gotta just shut everything down because I can't move.
But one of the things in the letters we've gotten said there.
You gotta let it get these guys done if you wanna talk to him. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Said there, they brought the EPA in, and, you know, there's nothing toxic on this property. They quoted saying, you know, the rubbish had to be removed. There's no rubbish there. I call rubbish the stuff you dump out of your trash can, and there's nothing like that there. I mean, what the majority of what he has is boat parts, lawnmower parts.
We've heard that, yeah.
Lawnmowers, in that type of thing.
Yep.
And it's if I were to call his business anything, I call it small engine repair and salvage for mowers and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I've got one of my pickup trucks that's sitting there, but I've only got one vehicle there, and I think he's got a couple of Jeeps there, and that was one thing I wanted to do, is specialize in Jeeps, and I kind of like to see it get down to that, and all this other stuff go away myself.
Okay.
But it's my brother's business, so I let him do what he does, and I'm a truck driver, so I have, other than my name on that property, I don't have anything to do with it. But I keep getting the letters.
Do you have another property farther up the road?
I do. I have 3 properties out on 5D Road.
And do they have that same kind of stuff on them?
No. It's my home, and I've got a garage that is just a lot with a garage on it, and then I've got a field there, and I think this zoning board claims jurisdiction over all of that from being in this 2-mile zone.
Yeah.
So, and that's, you know, for me, that's a sore spot anyway. We've had the 2-mile zone in case Plymouth is going to grow for what, 50 years? And nothing's happened. You guys ain't growed, but I still am subject to all the city's rules and
Just like me.
Just like me.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's something that needs to change, to be honest.
Well, we can't do that. We're not that strong. So thank you.
Well, somebody can. Somewhere there's a way to get it done. It got enacted. The people who enacted that.
Yep. All right.
That was done, it's a state.
Yeah.
How much is the fine?
We're gonna ask Dennis that once we let them.
$200.
We can.
The fine was $200.
Yep.
Which, for pallets. Why?
The problem with wood pallets, when they get wet, they rot.
Well,
So then you got another problem.
There's no rotten pallets there.
If they're getting wet, there is.
Well, no.
Then I'm not allowed to burn there either.
going out.
But there's
No,
no rotten pallets there. Everything there gets moved all the time. So you gotta understand, things come and go off this property. What may be here this week is gone next, but something else has taken its place. And so it's a constant flux of things moving. That's why I start out by saying, some people call this garbage and junk, and other people say that's valuable commodities. And it all depends on how people look at what is being sold there. If you don't have a use for it, well, you know,
But you
my
do
wife thinks-
obviously see, the issue with, there may be a ton of valuable stuff there,
Well,
but
yeah,
that's a
and
main
it
entrance
needs-
into our city.
And it needs
you
to
know.
be organized. I agree 100%. And, you know, all I can say is, when I had my machine and welding business there, we had heavy equipment coming in all the time, heavy stuff. Semis,
Yeah.
trucks, bulldozers, backhoes. But this land was dry then, and I could bring things in and move it around. Now you're lucky to sit, before he put the shards in the front, I said, when you look along that first row of stuff, I backed my semi in there with a
Sank.
53-foot trailer, and I sunk down into the ground and almost couldn't get out. I was gonna call a record. And I didn't realize that the ditch had been changed. I'm remembering from when I had my business back here in the 70s and 80s. And so the land has changed, and this is what he's been dealing with, is the wetness of the ground and not being able to use the property the way we'd like to use it. We'd like to get everything in the back part, and that front part be parking for people to come in and out of.
And they made me put the fence clear back in front of the building.
I said, you talk to Dennis about your next steps with the county on the drainage, okay? I suggest tomorrow morning you find out who that office is, pay him a visit. We're not really here to deal with that drainage.
Right.
So, you guys
But
good?
why is the fence gotta be so far
Thank you.
back?
I have no
We don't
idea
have
about
the
the
fence.
fence.
Thank you,
It
guys.
should be, I'd like to have it up closer to the road, but
There's setbacks.
There's setbacks and vision issues, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
I think the business next to us, they have their fence right out on the front.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for? Yeah, I thought we used to have fires back there. But it's been a while. I went out there
Didn't we
a
have
couple
a
times.
neighbor who was afraid that their building was on fire because of fires they were having?
Well, I'm pretty confident back there, right behind the white building, they used to have fires back there. Cause I put one out before. Didn't you guys have a campfire area back over there where you burn stuff? Cause we've been out there a long time ago. We were out there and put things out. Haven't been out there in
but we had it
several
contained
years.
too, what? It was a contained campfire.
I thought we had one of the businesses next door
Yes.
say that they haven't. They came before this board and complained about the fires that were taking place there. You remember that, Dennis, or was that?
I wasn't on then.
Was that under?
That was
Keith
before me.
Hammond? That was Keith Hammond.
That was before me too.
Okay.
On here. But I put the
Yeah,
fires out.
but you, as the fire department, has been there and put out big fires.
No, he didn't put nothing out, he just told us.
Go ahead. Thanks, Dennis.
So, as they stated, the EPA they were turned over to the EPA for burning, having open fires back there. That was before my time.
It's been,
I contacted the EPA when I first started looking at it and asked if they still had open cases. The lady I spoke with said that it's very hard getting hold of the property owners as far as she was concerned.
So when you
They
say
didn't have
EPA, do you
any-
mean IDEM, Indiana Department of Environmental Management, or the
Yes.
actual EPA?
Environmental Protection Agency.
Yeah,
IDEM,
EPA.
EPA.
okay.
Cause
And the way she said, it's not closed, but it's not currently active. I don't know what that means. but,
so can I,
Keith Hammonds did issue a fine back in 2022. I did find a report on that. They're getting hung up on the pallet issue. The pallet was basically me trying to find a step forward.
to fix it, yeah.
It's the entire property is what the original citation was for.
I'll make a motion to keep it, okay, can I?
Yeah.
I wanna,
Can I give you a quick clarification on what you're making
Sure.
a decision on?
sure.
That way we're not stepping outside of where we're making decisions. So your decision is whether or not he gets to keep the pallets on the property. That's the only thing that was requested in the appeal. Nothing else.
Not to reduce the fine or nothing else.
No. It had nothing to do with the fine, it just told us what the fine was. The request was about the pallets. That's why I wanted to make sure I came up here at the end.
Yeah, so
before
let me
we
ask you
make any
this, so
determinations.
the issue is not just the pallets, it's actually cleaning it up, so therefore he has to pay the fine, that's irrelevant of what we say. The fine is,
What is being determined here this evening is about the pallets.
so if we say, he can-
That's what's here in the request.
well, no, it's not the fine, that's what he's trying to tell me. We're saying it's either whether you can have pallets or not. If they can have pallets, the fine goes away, that's what you're saying.
The,
No, because the fines for the whole property is what I thought what Dennis was.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. Well, I'm
there's the
gonna,
violation and the fine. The appeal this evening is on the pallets. Do they get to keep the pallets or not? There was a lot of discussion surrounding the entire case.
Okay.
But that's what we're here for. If you'd like, I can read you exactly what came in on the application, if you will.
So it's just the balance whether they can come or go.
Correct.
I feel like I don't even know if that has no relevance on what we've been talking about. But
But I understood that the discussion was going
yeah.
over the whole thing. I want to make sure we're making decisions on what is being requested.
Focusing only on the pallets, that's what you mean.
Well, I can make a motion still. I know what I want to. Well, go ahead, you can speak. Come on up here, though, you gotta,
So,
hold on for a minute.
from the application as submitted by Brian Stutler, to whom it may concern, according to letter, was asked to remove pallets in which I, Brian Stutler, need to place items on so they can be moved around easily to clean up and to straighten things up around property due to flooding of property. Period, end of statement, as requested.
Okay.
The whole thing's over the fine and the ballots, and they sent a letter to me, but ballots and things, but pallets, $200 fine. That's why I put the appeal in. 'Cause you'll find me on $200 for pallets?
I think they're fine because you got junk in your, it looks like junk to people coming in here. I think that's what it is. That's what we've been trying
I've
to
been
talk
straightening
about.
around, if he,
Not, obviously not enough because it's been fined on. In my opinion, it's not been enough. It's not been active quick enough. And that's why he's trying to find something to help you out, clean this up and keep moving it forward. But I think that's what we've been talking
and
about, trying to
this right
figure
here is part of
out.
the fine too.
I understand.
I don't understand why I'm being fined.
Because of the, actually it's because of the junk.
I've been
What people
cleaning
perceive
up
as junk.
gradually, as much as I can.
That's,
Understand.
that's not part of our decision tonight.
Yeah,
Right.
and like I say, if you deny use of the pallets, then what about the rest of the commercial properties along that road?
We don't have to worry about your property, unfortunately. It's, every case is by its own.
Because I'll file two.
And you can.
And that's
That's
what I
okay.
do, because that's discrimination if you pick out his business. And you say he's the only one in Plymouth commercial land that's not allowed to have pallets, but
Understand?
all the rest of the business.
And you
up
can-
there,
you're free to do
the
that.
Auto dealerships and the
Yep.
grocery stores
You
and
got
all
the
that,
where-
they're allowed to have
you got the
pallets all
means to
around
do
their
that?
building.
Go ahead.
You get, that's definitely in your rights. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. To get rid of them.
Give them some.
But if he gets rid of the pallets, then he can't sell the stuff. He can't move it around.
That's what you say, you got 60 days to get it done. I mean,
That'll make it move everything.
right.
You can't use a pallet that's underneath them, then everything's gotta go.
Yeah, I don't understand the, in between the fines and the pallets, what we have to say about the pallets. You know what I'm saying? If we say anything about the pallets, that has nothing to do with the fine.
Yeah, no.
You guys have probably heard enough already, but I'm gonna add just a little bit.
I love it, love it.
I hope you.
Ty gave you the language from the appeal notice. I wanted to point out the language that was included in Dennis's notice of fine.
Perfect.
Specifically, the line where he says that around April 24, 2025, I spoke with someone at this property, informed them to remove all the wood pallets and to continue working on cleaning the property. As you heard from Dennis, the fine was not issued specifically because of the pallets. The fine was issued because the property has not been cleaned up. The pallets were one step that were identified that would indicate they were working toward cleaning it up. But whether the pallets are there or not is not the issue that resulted in the fine. The fine was for the overall condition of the property.
Well, we're not deciding the fine anyway, is my understanding, so therefore it doesn't really matter what we decide, the fine continues.
You get rid of that fine.
Correct?
Yes.
Yes, so we can't get rid of the fine. We're just deciding if the pallets get to stay.
Well, you have not been requested to get rid of the fine.
Right. Well,
So you were requested to allow the pallets to stay. Whether you allow the pallets to stay or not, that's not the basis for the fine, and if there's been a request
Yeah.
to remove the fine.
Well, clearly, what we, I think we represent the public is what's cleaned up means versus what they believe is cleaned up means
Correct.
is not the same.
correct.
And one of the reasons a 2-mile zone or extra jurisdiction, extraterritorial jurisdiction exists is so that the city can control how it grows and what goes on beyond its border, so that things like this, it gives the city the ability to control what's going on right around themselves. And this is a prime example of why a 2-mile zone needs to be
Exists.
enforced. Because this, when they put that Veterans Parkway in, and that road became an even more important entrance into the city of Plymouth. And I live in the 2-mile zone, so I'm speaking, you guys don't, well, I guess maybe
I do.
You do, but I actually represent the 2-mile zone,
Right.
appointed by the county commissioners. That is why there is a 2-mile zone.
Correct. Want me to make a motion?
Yep.
I'm gonna make a motion, we uphold it, that you have to remove the pallets, and that can continue with the rest of the stuff. That's my motion.
Second.
What?
Are we giving them a time limit?
Nope.
They're still under an order to clean up.
Yeah,
No,
just gotta keep moving forward with it.
Okay.
So I have a motion, I have a second, need a vote.
Gidley.
Yes.
Ritchie.
Yes.
Wendell.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes. So the vote is that you do have to get rid of the pallets and continue, however you have to do that, move forward with it. You can come up here if you need to hear me. You can come up with him if you want.
You don't want to hear.
That's all right. So you do have to move the pallets to get rid of it and follow through what you've been ordered and asked to do.
So just remove the pallets then?
Nope, I'm not saying that. That's what mine is saying. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm just saying from what you asked me to tell, what you asked today.
Yeah.
You have to follow through and remove the pallets. I'm not saying you have anything else. That's all that we were asked to judge on today.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand what I'm hearing.
Well, Dennis and Ty can help you with that then.
Yeah, well, he's tidying up the property, okay? And that's,
We've heard all
It's
this.
been voted.
yeah, I know, but that's what you're saying. You want him to tighten up the property and remove the pallets.
I got people buy the pallets.
Yep.
No.
We can only vote on what you ask us to vote on, and that's
Yeah,
what we did.
I understand. I
Right.
just wanted to make sure I understood what was being asked. Because,
We're hoping when
the pallets too are one thing for sale. You have a pallet business here that's what they
Yep.
do is buy and sell pallets, so.
I understand.
You're-
I appreciate it.
Telling me he's not allowed to do business on a commercial property, is what I hear.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is BZA 2025-16. Ty, will you present your report?
Yes. So 2025-16, Lawrence H. Katz and HDJ Investments LLC We have BZA 2025-16, Lawrence H. Katz and HDJ Investments LLC from 207 East Market Street, Napanee, Indiana 46550, a variance of use to allow the operation of a retail store, Dollar General, on a parcel identified as 504126000026 00017, located on Queen Road at the intersection of Queen Road and US 30, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, zoned R1 Rural Residential District. So we have a variance of use to allow the operation of a retail store, Dollar General, on parcel 504126000026 00017, located on Queen Road at the intersection of Queen Road and US 30 in Plymouth. As you can see here is the majority of the subject property, in which is seeking to be permitted for a retail store, in specific Dollar General. Pending this case, they would look to expand that eastern property line slightly to the east to be able to accommodate the development, but the majority of the development is going to occur on the highlighted parcel here. Here is some of the pictometry imagery when it was still being farmed for crops. It doesn't look like this today. And then here's the very pre-drawing in relationship to that, with the store sitting in the middle of the property and the entrance being off Queen Road as far northerly as possible to be able to maintain as much separation between the jointed intersection of Queen Road, Plymouth LaPorte Trail, and the access coming off of US 30. Looking out at the property, looking south on Queen Road, up at the intersection, you can see how congested it can get. And then looking down the frontage road of US 30 for Plymouth LaPorte. And then as you pan across the property. So for the analysis, the applicant is seeking to permit and approve a retail store, Dollar General, at the intersection of Queen Road and US 30. The project is pursuing a variance of use because the retail store use is not permitted within the R1 Rural Residential Zoning District. The comprehensive plan does outline portions of the Queen Road and US 30 area as employment center and would have the ability to assist in serving a market in northwestern Plymouth/Marshall County. Being at an intersection of interest with a U.S. highway, the Propel US 30 West study has been completed as of the end of the summer of 2025. West Plymouth segment identifies a couple of carry forward options for the Queen intersection, including reduced conflict interchanges, bridges, or an interchange, which are also accompanied with package changes for that region over to the West County line. With these possible intersection changes, there is a question as to what will NDOT decide over the coming decades. As for the proposed layout, the developer has listened to the thoughts and have taken the concerns under advisement, including the location of the driveway, working to reduce conflicts at the secondary intersection of Queen Road and Plymouth LaPorte Trail. For tonight's decision criteria for this case, it includes general welfare, adjacent property, practical difficulty, unnecessary hardship, and comprehensive plan. So for finding number one, the proposed retail store should not be injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare. For finding number two, the use and value of adjacent property may be impacted depending on the amount of traffic generated. The strict application of the ordinance would not permit the proposed based on the base zoning, but there is some possibility with the future development character map. For finding number four, the strict application would not permit the proposal and is able to be requested either through rezoning the property or as applied through a variance of use. The finding number five, the comprehensive plan through the future development character map supports employment center development west of Plymouth along the US 30 corridor. And for a recommendation based on the information provided and reviewed by staff and attendance through the technical review committee, staff recommends approval of the retail store with the condition that the site plan be reviewed and approved through the technical review committee. Now it is up for board determination. Any questions for staff?
I don't. With conditions.
How many feet, can you,
There.
I never could see it well enough. How many feet is the drive from the Plymouth LaPorte
intersection?
I
do not know what that footage is at this point in time. It's just a best available drawing for us to be able to represent that portion.
It's close to 250 feet, I believe.
The applicant's online for any questions, and you said it was 250 feet approximately?
That's right.
Okay.
Anything else with that? Thanks, Ty.
Thank you very much.
So say you're on the Zoom call or the video, is there anybody else here, or are you going to be representing?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah, are you going to be the one, the petitioner representing yourself, or is there anybody here?
My name is Rusty Dawes. I'm an engineer. I work for the developer of the Dollar General property. The developer that I work for builds these projects for Dollar General and then leases to them.
Okay.
That's kind of the process.
So I need you to state your name then and the address for the record.
Sure. My name again is Rusty Doss. I work for Overland Engineering. I'm representing the Overland Group. My address is 1598 Imperial Center in West Plains, Missouri.
Thank you. Anybody have questions? Is there anything else you want to provide to us other than what's been said already?
Excuse me. We've been in contact with a lot of the different agencies involved in this project, whether it's Health Department for septic. We do plan to contact IDEM and the county for the well that's proposed. We've looked at the Propel study. We've gotten the driveway permit from the county. So just let you know, we've reviewed the city ordinances with regards to landscaping, drainage, setbacks, buffers, all of those sorts of things. Wetlands, we've got a wetland delineation. So I guess the bottom line is we've done quite a bit of homework on this one, and I believe, I don't see any issues at this point other than the use of variance that would prevent development of the project and being successful with it.
Thank you. Questions, anybody? Okay. Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I'll now declare the public meeting open. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak in favor of the proposal? If so, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. If not, is there anybody else online? I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak against the proposal? If so, please step forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Hello.
Hello, I'm Mike Wolf. I live at 7649 North Queen Road, which is just north of the area here. I'm not thrilled about seeing a Dollar General going into agricultural land like that. I think there's other places that's not in agriculture where Dollar General could go. But with that being said, I think we could do a lot worse on that corner down there. Our only concern is the traffic turning off of the highway. I was glad to hear them say that they're putting the exit on north, farthest north that they could get away from the highway. I just wanted to voice my concerns about them being able to come off on that little side road that goes down to K Industry.
Is it still open?
Because that would be a traffic hazard with people turning off the highway.
Is that business still down there?
It's closed.
Okay, that's what it was.
That business is closed now.
It's still a private road there.
I would have liked to see them get more property to get farther away from the highway, coming closer to me. I hate to say that, but coming closer to me. But as long as they are staying north of that intersection, like I said, we could do a lot worse on the corner. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you. Anybody else in the audience like to come up and speak?
Yeah.
Come on.
My name's Jim Warner. I live at 7886 Plymouth Laporte Trail.
We have water problem in that intersection. When it rains a little bit, it accumulates right in that intersection, makes hazards all the time. My property is almost lower than that intersection, so it backs up along the ditch line and fills my, so if another business goes in there that the water can't saturate the ground and get it off, it'll run to that intersection and try to back up and flood more in that area. That's my biggest concern. And I like the environment out there right now, and getting a Dollar General will make it awful more busier. And with Jellystone down the road, there's a lot of noise down there, and on the weekends, and I'll have some down at that intersection. And I just see it's a big problem for me as a resident. I moved out of the city to get some quietness a few years ago, and I hate to get that disturbed. So I'm against it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Drainage has been, they've addressed that, haven't they?
I don't know. Anybody else?
Is the drainage addressed in the plan?
Close it.
It will need to be addressed. I think just like some of the distances, this is a very preliminary layout. It would still have to go through TRC process and meet approval for a drainage plan.
So they have to come back to TRC again?
Well, please close it.
Let's close, let me close.
Okay.
Anybody else in the audience that wants to speak?
Thank you. That's right.
If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I declare the public meeting closed. Any more discussion? Go ahead, Ty.
Okay, so to get in more to your question about the TRC review, from a drainage standpoint, I'll kind of iterate that in a way that when having conversations with Mr. Doss, they've been more than willing to make sure that that property is going to be accessed as safe as humanly possible in the confines of what property they're able to purchase from the property owner. And so they've been more than willing to move that driveway as far north because we had discussions about do we go north on Queen or do we go east on Plymouth LaPorte. But the way that intersection with 30 queues up is going to be better and safer to, not speaking for the engineering department, is more likely going to be safer to come down Queen than it is to come across Plymouth LaPorte and make those turning maneuvers from that standpoint. And so they've been great to work with from that standpoint and taking that into consideration, as well as the research we suggested they get into for Propel. So I imagine with the concerns that were brought up in relationship to the drainage, I would imagine Mr. Doss is going to take that in consideration when doing the site plan, making sure that we're not going to be putting any additional water onto the roadway. So that's going to be addressed within that site planning process, just as he's been great to work with for the other matters. I expect just the same as we move forward on it, and we'll have a TRC review over that as a part of the conditions that were recommended from staff. So that would be hinging on the BZA affirming those conditions of approval should you go that direction. It's not necessarily required under the zoning ordinance, if I understand it correctly, because it's not a commercially zoned property. So technically there's a loophole there, and we sought to close that with this recommendation coming from staff, making sure that it does go through TRC. We took it briefly through a cursory review in terms of the concept of it, but the details of it, I recommended going back through, making sure everything, just as if it were going in the middle of town, everything's going to be addressed just like it would normally.
As you're going south on Queen, there's a stop sign right there before you can either turn on Plymouth LaPorte or go straight, right?
Correct, as you're heading southbound.
Yeah.
There's a stop sign at all 3 points of that intersection except for the incoming traffic from 30.
Yeah, you can't stop that.
And so your queuing distance is about a vehicle and a half, depending on whether or not you got a couple smart cars or a long bed pickup truck.
And truly, we're only deciding whether that property is suitable for this type of stuff, not worrying about the traffic patterns and things like that.
It's an aspect to take in consideration under the review portion of the process. Would you be able to switch me back to the PowerPoint by chance? There you go. Perfect. Awesome. So the findings that you're taking into consideration this evening is the general welfare of the public, the adjacent property, the practical difficulty of whether this goes there or not, the unnecessary hardship of them applying for what they're wanting to do, and the comprehensive plan and what it lays out for us. You can, under statute, you're taking these into consideration. As a holistic understanding of the project itself, you begin to factor in everything else, and then you make your determination based on that.
Yeah, well,
So if there's conditions that you believe are significantly appropriate or of interest as it relates to these matters, we add those in. And that's kind of where staff looked at it and said, if it's going to be a commercial business within this area, standardly it would not be required to go through TRC, but because of the use, we want to make sure it goes through TRC.
Because with the more rural setting like that, a lot of people coming from the campground to there and stuff would pick up a lot of traffic, I would think.
Right. A lot of businesses will be based on different markets. Dollar General is much of the same. They're usually looking for a certain housing threshold, monetary income threshold, those sorts of things. And so as those continue to go up, different industries are going to be coming into different areas to be able to service those. I don't know the exact business model of Dollar General itself, but I imagine it's looking to serve the western side of Plymouth, especially north of US 30, as you get into that section of West Township, Polk Township, that all begins to service within that general vicinity. And I imagine there's a massive interest due to the campground just west of there.
Okay.
I'm curious, is this the same, or is this the same group that put the one on East Jefferson Street?
I do not know that question.
I don't believe so. I don't recall having done one in Plymouth before. We've been doing this for about 14 years, and I don't think that was one of ours.
Because that parking lot over there used to flood. Over in that area.
Oh, where the market is?
Yeah.
On East Jeff?
Did they do anything to where it doesn't anymore? Because I don't remember seeing it really flood anymore like it used to.
Yeah, that was the pond, there was a new line run through that parking lot, and then it goes around the building, and then it goes into a retention pond behind the old Dave and Ray's, is what I still call it.
Yeah.
Back there. And then it's actually got an alarm on it, so that if it overflows, it's supposed to...
There's a pump issue that serviced the retention pond behind the old market. And so when they fixed that, it was able to...
Yeah, I was just curious if they dealt with the situation with water there, they would be able to obviously deal with it at this other joint.
From an engineering company, I would imagine they'd be able to take a look at the information that was provided this evening and make sure that their drainage calculations are going to be flowing out and away. I don't know if I can make heads or tails of their drawing here. I don't know if it's a retention space. Mr. Doss, is a retention space in the southeast corner of that property?
Yeah, all of the runoff from this property goes east-northeast, away from that intersection. So the runoff from the building, from the parking would all run parallel to LaPorte Trail east, obviously staying on the property, and then being discharged to the northeast, to that wetland area, that low area back there.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be exactly the opposite direction of the intersection.
So there might be able to be some level of improvements at or near the intersection to be able to take on what's occurring within that general vicinity through a swale south of the parking lot and running easternly towards that aspect. It's not uncommon in rural areas or rural roadways where you've got a berming effect on either side of the roadway that keeps water on the road itself. It comes with our northern climate with all the sand and stuff that we put out. You begin to have berming effects. That's why it's, I wouldn't say it's common or uncommon.
The highway department has to cut those berms off occasionally.
Right, and you'll often see the state department going through.
They cut everybody's front yard off at the road because
Mm-hmm.
it was fine. I mean, I understood why they were doing it.
It removes a lot of sod and things sometimes, and I can understand where that can be frustrating for property owners that take great pride in their yard. But there's some features and necessity to it. So hopefully that answers your question.
Anything else,
Any other
Mr.
questions?
Dye? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There's no additional discussion of the board. I'll entertain a motion for approval, denial, or other recommendations.
So this is variance for rezoning, is that right?
No.
What is it?
A variance and a rezoning are two different
Okay, but I
boards.
mean, not a I mean.
It's a variance of use.
Variance of use for that spot.
For that spot, for that specific project.
Okay.
The Chair Creeks.
And staff gave the recommendation of an approval with a condition.
And that is the going in front of the TRC.
Correct. So staff recommends approval of the retail store with the condition that the site plan be reviewed and approved by the Technical Review Committee. As a reminder to the board when making determinations, if a condition is not included within your recommendation, but it was intended to, if it's not in the motion, it doesn't exist.
Right.
You can talk about it all you want to. What lives and dies is within the motion. You're free to make whatever determination you wish.
Go ahead.
Sir, after what was just said about drainage and all that, does that help clear your mind up a little, some fears about it?
There is a ditch that runs parallel to 30, and it cuts that corner and goes right across 30 and comes back on the other side and goes to the wetlands. So it's gonna affect that corner, no matter what you do.
So which way are you saying the water's going?
The water comes off that property toward the intersection, and whatever's coming down Plymouth LaPorte, it just gathers there and goes across the highway and comes back to the wetland.
Just
So
gets
it's
it out
gonna
of the way,
make
the
a
rest of
bigger
you won't be able to
problem.
hear anything.
Can I walk up there for a second?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, all of you guys can do questions.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There's drainage problems in this
Needs to know an
field
address.
right here, coming across the road. Water is standing here, water's not moving here, water's coming off the highway. So this section of the road has been flooded for the last couple of years. Now realizing Queen Road was just put in 2 years ago, brand new. But we've had that problem right in through there for the last few years, couple of years.
But it didn't used to, Mike, until they.
When I farmed it, there wasn't any water standing in this area here. And now the last few years, there's been water standing there. The road's been flooding there and water's been coming off the highway there, so.
Okay, so the
I don't know if it's not getting away right through here, which is gonna be a concern, because that's right where, but I would assume they gotta fix that.
And my
But
property is lower
it,
than.
right through there, it's not getting away, so. His property is second house down right here.
second house west on
Second house
Plymouth.
on west on Plymouth.
I'm just making sure that
Yeah.
those that are here know where you're pointing. So just to kind of represent that information, within the pictures that were taken, if you're looking here at the roadway itself, they went through and they cut the grass alongside the road. You can see how it's sitting at an angle, and you can see on the left-hand side, or what would actually be the east, because that's going the side of Plymouth, you can see all the sand that is built up on that side. So it's clearly telling you that there's some level of inability for water to escape off.
Water coming off that highway, I would think.
Especially if it's not, if you've got a berm that's located at the
I don't
intersection.
think there's berming issues. It's issues out into the field to the east,
Okay.
right where they want to put the parking lot, that the water's not.
Do you think that's tiled?
Huh?
Do you think it's tiled?
There's gotta be a tile through there.
Okay.
Gotta be a tile.
There's a ditch.
So they're gonna be building over top of the tile?
I would assume, yeah,
If-
there's gotta be one going right through there.
There's, I didn't pull up the county tile. There could very well be public tile or private tile that's there. That's an entirely separate piece. If it's a public tile regulated under the drainage board, there's setback requirements associated with that, 75 foot from the tile itself, from both sides, so it's a 150-foot swath from that aspect, and that'll have to be taken care of. They're capable of moving it. I've seen it done before, but it's all at the expense of the owner itself. Not saying they would, but should there be one and should there be a desire to relocate it, there are options for that. But where the vehicle's parked, the ground does go up in that section. It's unfortunately very difficult to see within the pictures due to the current grow up on the property. A 4-foot, let's call it a weed, makes it very difficult to see what the exact contours are of that space, but I could very well understand the flooding on that property or on the roadway adjacent to the property.
Anybody have anything else for Ty or anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion for approval or denial or other recommendations. And do keep in there about the TRC.
Do we need to say that in the?
Yes. You have to make that part of your motion.
That has to go back to the TRC.
Yes, sir. To get approval.
I make a motion, we approve the request as presented with the addition that it must return to the TRC for final approval. Is that good
Yeah,
enough?
that's exactly what staff recommended.
Okay.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. Roll call.
Gidley,
Yes.
Ritchie,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes. Thank you, Ty.
Okay, so that's approved and we'll move forward with that in accordance with the ordinance and.
And TRC will oversee it.
Correct.
Make sure.
TRC will have to provide the approval for that project.
All right. Next
Moving
on the agenda is BZA 2025-17. Ty, would you present your report?
Yes, sir. So for BZA 2025-17, George W. the Fourth and Melinda J. Folkers, 57652 Priscilla Court, Elkhart, Indiana 46517, a special exception to allow a home-based business for the storage of the vehicles on the property on parcel 5032-06-403-172-00019 located at 2220 Lake Avenue, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, zoned R2, suburban residential district. So we have a request, a special exception to allow a home-based business for the storage of their vehicles on the property on parcel 5032-06-403-172-00019 located at 2220 Lake Avenue, Plymouth, Indiana. As you can see, here is the highlighted parcel in light blue. It is immediately west of the hospital and church on the couple curves that are there here on the west side of town on 17 or Lake. And here's a drawing that was provided.
I think they're trying to figure out exactly, you notice that? I do,
It was hard,
okay.
yeah, it was hard to picture.
Yeah, go back here.
So where the helipad is,
Yeah.
due west of that.
Okay.
There's
Like
not
across
a.
the road from the entranceway to the emergency room for the ambulances.
Right.
Mhm. Exactly.
Really can't see it from the road.
Correct, and I've got pictures to show it's not easy to see.
Get to it either, probably.
We took pictures from across the street, also due to safety. As you can see here, this is kind of what their general layout was they were proposing for the structure itself. And then we were on the church property here at their exit on the west-hand side. And we took pictures as safely as possible along a state road. But that's why we gave you the aerial imagery. And it'll be located back here in the woods. So for the analysis, the applicant is seeking to construct a residential structure that will also house their business vehicles. That will be considered as a home-based business. The applicant is seeking to permit the home-based business so that they would be able to store their business vehicles on the property. They operate Kona Ice in the area with 2 to 3 different trucks. The region is a mixture of residential homes and medical businesses in support of the medical campus. The subject property is zoned R2 Suburban Residential District, which allows for home-based businesses, but they must receive special use approval. So the decision criteria for this case and consideration includes the general welfare, development standards, ordinance intent, unnecessary hardship, comprehensive plan, as well as several other considerations. For finding number 1, the approval of the application should not be injurious to the public health, safety, and general welfare. For finding number 2, the strict application of the ordinance may permit the proposal so long as they meet the associated development standards, including outside storage, employees, customers, and off-street parking. For finding number 3, the proposal would not be contrary to the intent of the ordinance, provided that they continue to operate under the definition of a home-based business. A home-based business is an accessory use to a residential property carried out for the gain by one or more residents of that property, which is clearly incidental and secondary to the use of the property for residential purposes. The home-based business is intended to provide for a base of operations for service-oriented businesses that engage in work elsewhere other than the residential property where based. Such businesses might include, but are not limited to, landscaping, construction, excavation, septic service, etc. Finding number 4, the strict application of the ordinance could constitute a hardship for the proposal. And finding number 5, the comprehensive plan does support traditional neighborhood as well as transitional mixed uses in this area. For other considerations, topography and other natural site features, there's no significant features there. I mean, it is wooded, but there's no topographical, anything along those lines that was aware of. Zoning of the site and surrounding properties is R2 Suburban Residential District and the C1 General Commercial. The driveway location, street access, and vehicular and pedestrian traffic. There would be a new or an upgraded driveway onto State Road 17. Parking included amount, location, and design. Parking shall meet parking requirements. Landscaping, screening, and buffering properties should blend into the surrounding properties. Open space and other site amenities is not applicable. Noise production and hours of operation. Noise production should be minimal. Design, placement, architecture, and building material of the structures. No architectural elevations were provided with the application. Placement, design, intensity, height, and shielding of lights and lighting should match surrounding properties. Traffic generation, there will be additional trips generated as properties undeveloped, but trip count should not be substantial. General site layout as it relates to its surroundings, building layout was provided, and minor site plan was shared. So for a recommendation based on the information provided and review of the application, staff recommends approval of the proposed special exception. Now it is up for board determination. Any questions for staff?
Not by me. Anybody else? Thank you, Ty.
Thank you.
All right. Will the petitioner or representatives please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record? Just what you look forward to doing tonight.
We appreciate your patience.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is Melinda and I'm Geo Folkers. We live in Elkhart, 57652 Priscilla Court. And this has been a dream of ours to find a place to build a business that we've been doing for...
About almost 4 years now.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And moving to Plymouth.
Yeah.
Great. How many autos will you have on there that are business autos? Just out of curiosity.
Well, right now we have 3.
Yeah.
And what's your home business? What's the business? It's not a home business. I mean, what is the business?
We own Kona Ice in Marshall County and Travelin' Tom's Coffee in Marshall County.
Ooh. Good. So only about 3 private home and 3 vehicles.
So are you actually gonna live there?
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah.
That's the plan? Okay.
Did you used to, sorry, did you used to live in Knox?
I did, yeah.
Tracking you.
No,
Any other questions you guys have?
Just
Oh, yeah.
That was off the question. Sorry.
You don't have to have signage for either one of those businesses, do you? Out on the road?
No, there's no plan of it.
No plan to have signs?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
We're not selling anything on the property,
Right.
just a place to...
It's funny, I've seen 2 Kona Ice trucks on Oak Road and that.
Yeah, so we've been paying for rent for like going on 4 years and it's getting to be a lot. Yeah, add it all up, it's like, let's just have our own place.
Yeah. How big do you think you'll grow? I mean, what's your goal for 5 years from now? 5, 6 vehicles?
I mean, we're looking to get 1 more coffee truck, but that's probably about it.
Okay.
2 Kona trucks and maybe 2 coffee trucks.
Yeah.
Good. Questions?
No, now that I know they're gonna live there.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
I'll entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
We motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I'll now declare the public meeting open. Is there anybody in the attendance that would like to speak in favor of the proposal? If so, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address.
My name is Greg Carroll Jr. I live at 2009 Fairfield Boulevard, which on that map is two little slivers north of their property. Coffee business holds a special place in our heart. Our daughter owns a traveling coffee business in North Carolina, so I know my wife loves her coffee too. I don't feel like there's going to be anything busy around there, just parking vehicles there. There's no signage, and I'd like to ask you if I could mushroom hunt part of that too. There's some pretty good mushrooms back there. I've heard. But my wife and I are in favor of it. We have no issues with it whatsoever. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Anybody else?
Mike Dell, 3746 West Shore, Rhode Island, Bremen, and I don't know that I'm for or against. I've just got a family, several of us own a doctor's office right around the corner, and so I just want to understand what was going to be on there so it's not going to affect the billing we got between Alex Home Medical and the eye doctor there. So it's just going to be parking, if that's what I'm hearing, for 3 or 4 vehicles and a residence, so, and whatever warehousing they need to do there for it, so, okay.
It won't be seen from the road, will it?
It's kind of hidden behind.
It's going to be difficult.
Can you actually see the outline of that property? It's got a real strange,
Just a little sliver of a
it's a
driveway.
sliver of a driveway, and then it
All
goes
the way
back to
back.
that big area.
Oh, no, I understand how the property
Okay.
works. I just wanted to make sure I understood what was going on there. The other 2 partners with me just asked, I said I could be here tonight, I just want to be able to explain to them what was going to happen. So you're going to have some sort of an asphalt pad back there to park things in some sort of a shed or whatever, but I don't have a problem with it. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you were doing there, since I do have a building and a business just around the corner.
And Mr. Depp, I'll document that you were up here during the proposal that says you're in favor of.
Yes, I'm in favor. I always like to see new business and people coming to Plymouth, so I'm okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Anybody else who would like to come up and speak right now in favor of? I know you like the cone ice cream.
Yeah, I was just gonna say-
He likes the cone ice cream. You want the coffee.
Dennis Manuel, Building Commissioner, City of Plymouth.
Address?
My business address, 111 North Center Street.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, Gio actually applied for his building permit months ago. He's been sitting, waiting, trying to get all this clarified before he actually starts building. And he bought that property and tore the previous house down. So he's already made improvements in this community. I just think it's a great thing. I just would like to say, if Greg Carroll gets to hunt mushrooms back there, I should too.
That's the only reason you went up there.
All right. If nobody else is here to speak in favor of, anybody in attendance would like to speak against the proposal, please step forward to your podium, state your name and address, please. If not, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I now declare the public meeting closed. Board members, if there's no additional discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
I motion we
Approved.
accept.
Now.
I motion we accept BZA 2025-17 as written and presented.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Roll call.
Gidley,
Yes.
Ritchie,
Yes.
Wendell,
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for becoming part of our community too.
Yep. All right, next on the agenda is BZA 2025-18. Ty, would you give your report?
Yes, sir. So we have BZA 2025-18, Big Pretzel LLC, 16467 Pretty View Drive, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, a variance of development standard to allow for a mural larger than the permitted maximum on parcel 5032-05-102-331-00019, located at 1024 West Jefferson Street, Plymouth, Indiana 46563, Zone C1 General Commercial District. So the request is a variance to development standard to allow for a mural larger than the permitted maximum on parcel 5032-05-102-331-00019, located at 1024 West Jefferson Street, Plymouth, Indiana. So for those that were here before, this is a mural in relationship to some of those zoning ordinance amendments. As you can see, here's the bowling alley. They're going to be proposing to put a mural alongside the entirety of the east-hand side of the building that fronts the parking lot itself. Here is the drawing on the bottom and the superimposition onto the building itself of what that would look like with different characters, different names, including but not limited to the Kingpin Corner, which is a part of the bowling alley itself, Wild Rose Moon, Harlan Arts Center, and the Reese. Those were portions of being discussed earlier in relationship to different businesses and such from around the community. And so we went out, we took pictures of that same property across several different pieces because it's a very large building. And then we step back and try to get it all in one, but it's kind of squinty. So for the analysis, the applicant is seeking to illustrate a mural on the side of the building, but is greater in size than what is permitted under the existing ordinance. The regulation limits property owners to 30% of their building face to be used by a mural, and they would like to cover the full 1,200 square feet approximately. The ordinance is currently being proposed to be amended, but the legislation has not passed the City Council, and was to be reviewed by the Planning Commission earlier this evening. It received approval to a degree to be able to move forward to City Council will be presented for final determinations. The decision criteria on this case includes the general welfare, adjacent property, and practical difficulty is what you're rating it on. For finding number 1, the proposal should not be injurious to the public health, safety, or general welfare. For finding number 2, the use and value of adjacent property should remain unimpacted by a mural. And the strict application of the ordinance would not permit the proposal, but the variance would not be required should the mural regulations be updated per the existing Planning Commission case. Now for recommendation based on the information provided and review and general description of the proposed mural. Staff would recommend approval of the proposal to allow for the mural size to extend to the whole face of the building facing the parking lot. Staff does want to note that the Reese, Heartland Art Center, Wild Rose Moon, and Kingpin Corner would not be permitted under the proposed mural ordinance because they are related to the commercial side of signage, and the regulation would need to meet the associated sign requirements. Therefore, a similar request could come before this board to address those specifics. So if this were to come before us and the ordinance that was passed as a recommendation earlier this evening, if those businesses were removed from this, it would not be required to come to this board. But because those are being proposed.
A forest, if it was a picture of a forest.
So if you were to strike out and made it a general movie theater, you were to remove the contributing parties and the signage for the Kingpin Corner itself, which is a part of the business. Right. If all those were removed, a mural is a work of art. There's nothing tied to anything else. But because you're bringing in the commercialization of those different businesses and bringing it onto that mural, that's what tips it from the mural work of art definition that was proposed earlier this evening and the commercial side of it. It would come to you if somebody wanted to put something like this on there in relationship to could they or not.
Is that, Ty, because you want somebody to get paid by another business to put a sign on there? Or why? What's the difference? Help me understand your...
So the difference is what kind of sign it is. A work of art or a mural is it's not advertisement. The advertisement is bringing the different logos, slogans, phrases, those sorts of things that are associated with a given business into a mural, which could be portrayed as some level of commercialization of that piece. So if you take all of the commercialization off of it, whether it be a logo, a name, a phrase associated with that business, and it's removed, it's still that same work of art. But as soon as you begin to put the commercial aspects of it, of the varying categories, that's when it switches over to the commercial side. If they still want to put something like that, like this, up, it could come before the board, and you can determine whether or not you see that as an issue and whether or not it'd be acceptable to put into that mural. So we try to
still approve it just like we can this one.
Correct.
It would just be different.
This case would not be about the size, it would be about
what the art is
could
about.
they have those commercial aspects into it and count it as a mural.
Got it.
Rather than being limited to the wall signage sign requirements, which would shrink it substantially.
Got it. Very good. Guys, you got
So
any?
as presented, this is off-site advertising.
As presented, this is simply a mural that is too large. That's all you're here for?
They're just asking if they can have it this size.
Correct.
So-
This is what they're looking to
That's what
do.
we're trying to decide.
Okay, but this is only for size, this isn't for content?
So the ordinance hadn't changed at this point, so we're still operating under the previous, and they're sticking to many of the bowling alley and bowling alley adjacent aspects to that. So we didn't get into the content portion of it. We're acceptable to that. Currently.
So all we're approving is the size of the sign?
Correct. We see no issue with what they're wanting to do in terms of the content in which they're wanting to post on there. Because we're still operating under the previous, all those sorts of
It
things.
wouldn't have mattered.
Currently, they can only do 30% of that work.
That's the only thing that, otherwise, and they could do whatever they wanted in that 30%.
Right. We didn't
Gotcha.
see an issue. We saw it all under the existing mural definitions, those sorts of things. And so simply they're here because they want to be able to paint the entire piece rather than just 30% of that side of the building.
Gotcha.
So we don't have any issue with the content or anything along those lines. It's just simply they designed it for the whole thing. Unfortunately, the ordinance limits it to 30%.
Gotcha. Is that good, Mark? Good? Ty, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Will the petitioner or representative please step forward to the podium? Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. Grant Hollum, 16467 Pretty View Drive, Plymouth, Indiana 46563. And then I think Anna's also on the line as well from Heartland Gallery.
Okay.
Oh, Hannah.
Anything else you'd like to?
Yeah, I mean, just on that specific topic, and I don't know if intent really comes into play here, but I mean, there's no intent to commercialize this, really. I mean, it is a piece of art, and the idea was to really highlight just iconic places within Plymouth, Indiana that people would know, and so then that's why those businesses were really put on there. But the idea is really just to continue to add more art to the community, and we want to continue to grow the downtown area. I know that the bowling alley is a little bit outside of maybe what you I don't know, would consider downtown. But I'm doing a lot of work at the bowling alley to try to renovate it and make it last, for quite a while. And so Anna and I had just kind of dreamed this up a couple years ago as soon as I bought it, and here we are right now. So, yeah.
Questions, guys? Why not a little bit about the Plymouth Fire Department?
Right, you want me to throw it? Yeah, just put a little logo under it.
I'm biased, I just think it'd be nice for.
There you go.
Okay, I don't have anything more. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate it. I'll entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
So moved.
I have a first.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I now declare the public meeting open. Is there anybody in the attendance that'd like to speak in favor of the proposal? Please step forward and state your name and address.
I'll get up. Dan Sellers, 91 Wilson Circle. I kind of feel like that would be a major improvement over a blank wall, and I really like the setup there. So I'd be in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak against the proposal? If so, please step forward to the podium, state your name and address for the record. If not,
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I have a first and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same. I now declare the public meeting closed. Any more additional discussion?
Honestly, I agree with Mr. Sellers that that's a big improvement over just the side of that blank building there, and the fact that it's honoring what exactly this town has been trying to draw attention to, the Reese, Heartland artistry, and it's a, I mean, and our art community is growing, and I know the mayor had mentioned in his interview how, and it's so true, you can measure the heartbeat of a city by its artistic community, and I think it's a big.
And fire department.
And its fire department, yes.
And people by the name of Art.
And now too. We need more art. Yeah, we need more art. But I would
Make a motion?
I would make a motion that we accept the proposal as is,
And add the PFD.
I'd second that.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, and you did say you had the PFD, right? Okay.
I was thinking like a Mount Rushmore in there with those three guys right there.
Yes.
Yes.
Richie.
Yes.
Wendell.
Yes.
Jacobs.
Yes. Okay, thank you. PFD is how you spell it.
All right.
What do you
Next,
got?
we have the building commissioner update. Anything from the building commissioner for the BZA?
No.
Seeing none, hearing none. Other business, I have no other business this evening. Next would be your adjournment with anticipation of potentially a September 2nd meeting.
Okay.
I
Make
motion.
it, oh, you can't.
What?
I'll second.
Wait a minute, the second is, the Tuesday is the proper date,
It's
right? There's no other
it's the
change.
proper date. I'm just saying, hey, here's
After
your next
Memorial.
potential
I
date.
motion we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Declare the meeting closed.
Almost got it then at 49.
Grant,
BZA members don't leave.
I think it's good to add something.